were fighting. Maybe one was absent. Maybe the house was full of noise, but no one was listening. And somewhere in that small body, a thought begins to form. If I don't stay strong, everything will break. This is how childhood ends without anyone noticing. Not because the child grew up, but because they had to. They learn to smile when they want to cry. They say, "I'm fine," when they're scared. They become the caretaker, the peacekeeper, the one who never causes problems. People call them mature for their age. They call them responsible, wise, kind. But no one ever asks, who's taking care of you? Psychologists call this parentification, when a child steps into a role that was never theirs to fill. They become the emotional anchor in a storm that isn't their fault. They learn to sense moods before words. They measure love in responsibilities instead of hugs. And their brain adapts. It becomes wired for hypervigilance, constantly scanning for danger, reading faces, predicting reactions. Safety stops being a feeling. It becomes a strategy. But here's what no one tells you. That strategy doesn't just disappear when you grow up. You can be 30, 40, 50, and still feel like that little kid holding everything together. You might find yourself apologizing for existing. You might overwork, overgive, overthink, because that's how you've always earned your place in the world. You might feel guilty when you rest, uncomfortable when things are peaceful, because chaos somehow feels familiar. And peace? Peace feels suspicious. The world will praise you for being strong, but strength built on survival isn't freedom. When you grow up too soon, you don't just lose your childhood, you lose your permission to be soft. You start believing that love must be earned, that needs are burdens, that vulnerability is weakness. You become the adult everyone depends on, but who depends on you? And then, one day, you realize you've been carrying a weight that was never yours, that the version of you who had it all together was just a shield, a brilliant, necessary shield. But behind it is a child, tired, lonely, waiting to be seen. And healing begins when you stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What happened to me?" What happened was that you were forced to grow without being nurtured. You became responsible before you were ready. You became wise before you were safe, and that wasn't your fault. You did what all children do when love feels uncertain. You adapted, you protected, you survived, but survival isn't the same as living. So what now? You go back, not to relive it, but to reclaim it. You talk to that inner child. You tell them what they never heard. You didn't have to earn love. You were allowed to play. You were never too much. You were just too young. And slowly, piece by piece, you stop parenting the world and start parenting yourself. Because healing isn't becoming stronger. It's allowing yourself to be softer. It's letting your guard down in rooms that feel safe. It's resting without guilt. It's realizing that maturity isn't about carrying everything. It's about knowing when to put things down. You don't have to hold it all anymore. You don't have to be the adult that child became to survive. You can finally be the child who gets to just be. You were never broken. You were just busy keeping everything from falling apart. And now, you can finally breathe. Take a deep breath. You did enough. You are enough.